Alright, after finishing your low poly, you're going to move on to unwrapping. I'm not going to go deep into this, but something to focus on is keeping a nice clean unwrap that will be easy to understand when you get to the texture and phase. And another thing you need to make sure you do is when you arrange your UVs, if you're going to have stuff that's mirrored, you're going to want to make sure it's easy to identify and easy to move around, because when you get to your bake stage, you're going to need to move those out of the 0 to 1 space, which is where your UVs reside normally, and you're going to want to be able to move those out exactly, basically one whole texture grid to the right, left, or wherever you want to put it, and bake from there. That way you won't get any normal map artifacts or AO artifacts when you bake. So here a lot of the tools I'll use in unwrapping is stitch selected, which is what I'm showing right now, and that will allow me to just select an edge and hit the hotkey for it, and it'll, if done correctly, it will snap the other section to it. Sometimes this doesn't work right if it's an over complex shape, but here it's basically just straight lines and it's snapping together pretty quickly, so no worries with that. Other tools I use a lot are the ones under the quick transform, is align verts, align edges, select poly loops, and there. So it's unwrapping's a lot of the same thing over and over again. So I'm not going to show the entire unwrap thing here, and you can see that if I don't select the entire face, or if I just select this face and not the entire mesh, and I start rotating, I'm going to start getting some weird distortion, and that's because you're unwrapping it. Basically, you're peeling it apart. So you want to make sure you get a nice, clean, nice flowing, evenly distributed unwrap, and it's really important to keep that texture density going, across the prop all at once, and making sure it's nice and even, so you don't get any areas with higher resolution. So now it's basically putting the puzzle back together and seeing where things will fit on here, and making sure you scale everything all together at once. And when I get into this mode, I'll usually just see what works, try to get the most bang for the buck out of this, and get things arranged nice and neat, and try to keep things pretty clean and easy to understand. This process can be kind of tricky sometimes, and it depends on your asset. We got something right here that's pretty simple. It's got a lot of hard straight edges, and it's not very organic. When you start getting into organic things, and things are starting to overlap and underlap, and there's undercuts to things, it starts to get a little bit harder to unwrap and avoid seams. We're kind of lucky with this, as it's got a lot of hard edges, and we can use those to split up the UVs. So I will move on to the render into texture next, and we will get this set up for baking our normal and AO maps and start texturing.